All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see for its local search and for its city search if it is they got BSS, yes or no for either or both of them. So we're back here in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, pinned post, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. You can see FSIC in white, our graph here. Over to the left, we got the highest intent peeps. These are the peeps searching for, boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, today. And they're searching social search and Google search. So we focus on these peeps in our videos here about BSS. Peeps are closest to the money, highest converting peeps. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps. We talk about those at our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We talk about BLCS, reaching those lowest intent peeps. And currently we're only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now BSS, boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots, our business is basically dead because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. 80% of Google searches are page 1 and done searches. So that is, approximately 80% of the market. That's basically the bulk of the market, basically everyone, basically all buyers. And so 0 is no bueno. 1 slot in page 1 Google is also no bueno because that actually means we're literally looking the same as everyone else because there's 10 slots page 1 on Google. There's literally going to be 9 other peeps with 1 slot page 1 on Google. And as a result, we're blending in. We're basically invisible. We're looking the same. What the boudoir buyer going to do? They're going to click through every. They're literally going to click through every person on page 1, open their website, submit a contact form, get a quote, price shop, negotiate, and kills all the margins, decreases the probability that they buy at any, boudoir photographer makes any profit at all if they even get that client. So 1 slot, no bueno either. Now 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It is the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, basically everyone knows this. Over time people get new iPhones, new cameras. It's kind of naturally there, they throw up the Google My Business profile saying they now offer boudoir, throw up their website saying they do boudoir photography. They throw up their well, they're also them posting the mom Facebook group saying they do boudoir photo shoots. This kind of naturally happens over time. Big flood happened during COVID. Lots of people lost their jobs. Still had to earn money though. Everyone's got a super powered smartphone with super camera. So pretty natural for people to become tons of new peeps to become boudoir photographers in that time. Now the false belief of page 1 equality, not many people know about this one. This is where kind of boudoir photographers have always kind of assumed and accepted that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google. But this is actually not correct. What actually is true is that Google will give us as many page 1 slots on as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search in only 10 days using our new methodology we developed. So I know just kind of accepting wherever Google places, our website, it's incorrect. Maybe we're on slot 7 page 1, some market saturation happened, then we're on, slot 1 page 2. Boudoir photographers naturally would be like, well, I hope someone deletes their website on page 1 so I can actually get back on there and hopefully Google re-ranks me there. But no, now we know we can actually take as many page 1 slots as we want. Next, a boudoir photographer with BSS boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. And disappearing because, if their business they got 0 slots page 1, so they're on page 2 or deeper. Yeah, they're disappearing because they're already invisible to approximately 80% of the market. If they got only one slot page one on Google, yeah, they're still basically invisible. They're being price shopped to death. You know, they're dying. They're still dying a slower death than zero slots. But in both cases, it's kind of like the warning light, kind of like the red flag, the canary in the coal mine telling us that our boudoir photography business itself is now on the path to disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cube methodology. We know this because we invented it. And it works exactly as it says, social search saturation. We're saturating social search, the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, making sure we show up there. Doing this is kind of like putting snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America, down on the backside, the eastern side of those mountains. When that snow melts, what happens is it forms into small streams, small rivers, and then it all flows into the large Amazon River. And that large Amazon River is page one on Google. But it all starts with actually getting the snow to the top of the mountain, and that is, S-cube methodology, social search saturation. And what's special about this is it's the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that actually can enable their business to still grow even in the face of massive market saturation and gives them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other option I've seen that offers a similar benefit is having a large, well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years to acquire. We ain't got 5 to 10 years. AI's here, it's taking people's jobs. Gonna be a flood of boudoir photographers coming into the market, and we're deciding to prepare ourselves now. And by my estimates, S-cube methodology can actually help build a large, well-known brand in a city approximately 8x faster than normal methods. It's because we're showing up on so many more surfaces, so much more frequently. That's kind of a byproduct. And then imagine you've got the large, well-known brand, and you continue to use S-cube methodology. I mean, you're basically unbeatable at that point. So, an example right now, we are now going to. Let's see. I've decided I want to go to. Oh, there we go. Topeka, Kansas. So we're in Topeka, Kansas. There are 1 million boudoir photographers. We are one of them. Everyone's got their website saying they shoot boudoir photography. So it's ultra competitive. Get page one on Google. So we're not invisible, so we're not disappearing. And as a result, and we don't have a large, well-known brand. Literally, the only chance for us to compete was we now have a solution for S-cube methodology. So like, all right, we're going to take this technology, we're going to crank it to the max, and let's say we take up the first 300 slots on social search across all the surfaces for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city. As a result, that flows down the mountain into the Amazon River, that flows down onto page one Google search. And when that happens, we are actually taking those first 300 slots, page one Google search. Let's say we got that as well. So basically anywhere any boudoir buyer searches, we're ranking for all those keywords across all these surfaces, and we're basically the only boudoir photographer our buyers can find. They essentially can't even find our competitors. They basically got page 31 because we're taking those first 30 pages on Google. I mean, who's going to page 31? Nobody. So in this scenario, whose boudoir photography business is growing? Most likely ours. Whose boudoir photography business is declining, disappearing, going poof? Basically the other 999,999 other boudoir photographers. And this is an ultra extreme example of what the S-cube methodology could enable. Actually taking it to the max, kind of ultra max version of it. Next, once treated with S-cube methodology, we now have page one visibility, P1V. And so obviously we get the initial benefits, more slots page one on Google. We also get this new second initial benefit, which a lot of boudoir photographers like the best. So every new slot we get on page one on Google, we are actually kicking our competing boudoir photographers off page one, put them on page two or deeper, effectively making them invisible. Because remember, approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two. They're page one and done searches. So a lot of boudoir photographers like this initial benefit as well. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So we have the GBC universe recommends a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search. That's because if everyone else has one slot each and we got 3 slots, well, we're dominating them. And if the ultra rare chance someone has 2 slots, we still got 3 slots, we're still dominating them. So we're basically dominating everyone in all scenarios if we get to a minimum of 3 out of 10. Obviously, higher is better. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. Got a disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. That's fine. We now have the solution S cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results utilizing S cubed methodology. I wanted to dominate Google page one for this keyword BLCS boudoir. So I use S cubed methodology to see my results. Organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. So if people searching this keyword, who are they clicking on? Obviously me. All right, now to our main event here. We're going to check this boudoir photography business, see if it has BSS, see if they're hitting the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search for local Washington, D.C. Well, technically that's city. And then region. All right, so the DMV, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. All right, so region should actually be way more competitive than what we've normally seen. All right, let's go to D.C. All right. So let's see what we got. All right, we got 0 out of 10 here for city search. Let's go to DMV area. All right, so we got 0 out of 10 for both. So we got BSS for both the city search and the regional search, and we got we're not hitting the recommended GBC yet. GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search for either of these searches as well. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've done a local search for yourself, high intent keyword, as a buyer, saying you got BSS there, or you've done it at the city search, you may have BSS there, or you've seen for either of those, you're not meeting the GBC recommended of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And you're seeing the SQ'd methodology is finally your one way to solve that. Then you're also taking into account the false belief of page one inequality. Yeah, it's false. That Google wants to give us as many page one slots as we want to take and want to put in the effort to acquire. So SQ methodology is the path forward. And you understand market saturation, the 2 prongs, people getting new iPhones, people getting new cameras. And you like the initial benefits of SQ methodology, get more slots on page 1, and also kicking competitors off page 1, so you're on page 2 where you're basically never going to be price shopped against them. And you're liking all that. And with regards to market saturation, you're looking at, you've seen AI, it's going to be taking more and more people's jobs. And as that happens, you know more and more boudoir photographers are actually going to come flooding into the market. And as more and more boudoir photographers flood into the market, they're actually going to, increase the supply. And as we increase the supply of boudoir photographers, we're going to be, harder to compete page 1, lowering the basically more supply, lower demand of page 1. And as a result, you realize you got to kind of fortify page 1 against a new future big rush of boudoir photographers. So as you're doing that, well, you're seeing, okay, S-cubed methodology is the only thing available to do that as well. And so you're liking all that. And you're also understanding that when we do S-cubed methodology, we're actually kind of building kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns. And as we build these invisible thematic keyword columns, what's happening is they're kind of like, columns of the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, or kind of like, hub and spoke kind of spokes attached, to our business hub. And what actually happens is we're increasing the mind share of the back end, the kind of the AI mind share. And every day we successfully do, we're getting a higher and higher probability that we're going to rank here in the AI overview on Google. And we're also increasing the probability that we get recommended AI search as well. So this AI overview is really basically a kind of a premium placement. But AI search, dude, AI search is awesome as well because more and more people are using AI search every single day. And so this kind of invisible momentum building up in the background, and you recognize, man, this will also help you build a brand approximately 8x faster. Kind of all these benefits combined, kind of we're just showing up way more in everyone over time. And you're recognizing that it's better to, you decided you want to be a first mover on this because if you actually hop into this with your, and you exclude all your competitors from using this, because my plan is to only work with this with one boudoir photographer in a city, then what actually happens is you're building up all this initial benefits and future benefits of making massive strides, massive progress against your competitors, kind of putting a big gap between you and them. As you put a big gap between you and them, it becomes harder and harder for them to ever catch up. And conversely, if someone else, some other competitor in your city came with you first, or came with me first, and we're able to build a massive gap on you, get all those initial benefits, what actually happens is you'd have to rederive S-cubed methodology on your own. You would not know if you've successfully rederived it 100% correctly or not. So then you'd actually have to go and run S-cubed methodology on your own and match our output to then kind of maintain the gap between your competitor and you. And you would have to, you'd actually have to then actually exceed our output to kind of catch us and close that gap. So you decide, screw that. You'd rather be you decide you're going to be the first mover and not have to deal with kind of someone overtaking your spots. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. Hospital is currently closed for new patients, but when we do open slots for new patients in the future, yeah, shoot a DM and we'll see if you qualify to utilize our S-cubed methodology.